Poco has sent us their new F8 Pro, one of the best-selling mobile phone models on the market, especially because it offers a good balance between performance and price. And I'm really excited to have been testing it for 2 weeks before it hits the market, and thanks to these days I've been trying it out. In this video, I'm going to share my first impressions of this phone, which I'm sure is going to be a top seller. So let's get into the key features I've noticed in this Poco F8 Pro. Let's get started with this brief review introduction of the Poco F8 Pro. Just so you know, at the same time as this phone, the Poco F8 Ultra is also being released. A phone that improves on some of the features already present in this Pro version, and I'll tell you more or less about it in this video. How are they different? So you can also get an idea of whether this Pro version is worth it for you, or if you should upgrade to the Poco F8 Ultra. And let's start with the performance section, a step forward in this case. As for the processor, we have the Snapdragon 8 Elite, a processor built with 3nm technology and Orion architecture, which gives it a level of performance similar to that of a flagship. The performance gives about 3,200,000 points on Antutu, and the integrated GPU is capable of delivering 40% more performance and 50% less power consumption. This way, in heavy games like Call of Duty Mobile, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, or just for browsing and daily tasks, you can achieve the maximum frame rate of 120 frames per second in this case without any lag or frame drops. It also features Wild Boost Engine 5.0 technology, which maintains thermal stability. And it also has a system that ensures while we're fast charging the battery, and the performance is about 3,200,000 points in ANTUTU, and the performance is 3,200,000 points in Antutu Duty Mobile, and for example in Peace. And it's true that it fluctuates between 90 and 100 frames when we push it to the max. Of course, we're already pushing the phone to its maximum performance, and now it stays very stable at 90, 100 frames. But in Call of Duty, I'm telling you, 120 frames locked. This phone handles it easily, and also it doesn't heat up at all during the time I've been testing it. And now let's move on to talk about the screen. The screen is a hyper red green blue active matrix organic light emitting diode, a 6.5 9-inch display. What Poco calls the golden ratio, which basically means, hey, the perfect dimensions for a mobile phone. And honestly, I think so too. I think it has the perfect size. So, you know, it's not too big, not too small, it fits in any pocket. When we put it to our ear, we can hold it perfectly. If we're in a city, for example, a dangerous one, well anyway, for me, it's totally ergonomic. I love this screen with very, very thin edges. And thanks to that slightly hyper red, green, blue technology, we get much more sharpness with a 120 Hz refresh rate on the screen, with a peak brightness of 3,500 nits, which is crazy. And in this case, it also looks like the Ultra with a minimum brightness of 1 nit, which is amazing for when we're using it, for example, in bed. And we continue with the multimedia section and move on to audio. Sound by Bose, a collaboration with one of the most recognized brands in audio. And we have a 2.1 system, which means stereo or symmetrical audio. And it features integrated bass that gives it much more body, more clarity, more sharpness, providing a super premium audio experience in the case of the Poco F8 Ultra. So we would have the same audio system, but with an even more powerful system inside for those bass sounds. Honestly, for me, the combination of the screen and speakers on this phone has really surprised me. They compete with the highest end models currently on the market. Seriously, you won't be left indifferent. Also, the sound power is really good. And let's move on to the camera module, a module we have on the back made up of 3 cameras and a 4th module, which is for lighting, the flash. We have a main camera with 50 megapixels of resolution, which gives us extremely sharp photos with very good colors. In any situation, you'll be seeing a few photos I've taken outdoors, and you'll also be seeing some I've taken indoors. In every case, they turn out well, it never fails at any moment. This sensor records in 8K at 30 frames per second, but you won't notice since we aren't going to. We're uploading this video, it doesn't crash, and you'll see the phone's video quality is impressive. Also, this sensor is capable of capturing 30% more light than the previous model, and the other two cameras would be an ultra wide angle, much more balanced than in the previous version. And another camera, which would be the telephoto with a 2.5x zoom and a focal length of 60mm. A telephoto lens that will give us much more sharpness when we want to take photos at a distance, far away. If we also want to achieve a bokeh effect, a much more natural and beautiful blur, we'll use this lens. Of course, all the cameras are enhanced with artificial intelligence to make the photos much more beautiful. We have a selfie camera that in this case surprises me because it's not a camera to overlook, but rather a very well-made camera. Honestly, I think the camera module on this phone matches its price. It takes really good photos with the main sensor, and the rest of the cameras perform very well too. In the case of the Poco F8 Ultra, instead of a 2x, we would have a 5x telephoto lens. As for the battery, we have a 6,210 milliamp hour battery, which is capable of charging at 100 watts of power, which gives us a full charge in about 30 minutes. Now, to make this battery last, we have an integrated system that protects the charge at 80%, which is the most recommended for daily use. As for usage, well, I'll just say it's a phone that will let us get through the day without any major problems. But it's true that it won't go beyond that. For example, when playing very demanding games with graphics on maximum, it's around every 20 minutes of gameplay. It drops by 10%. That is, we have a battery that's a little above average for a smartphone maybe when it comes to flagships. But it's true that we still don't make it through the whole day. If you want to keep that 20% margin to take care of your phone's battery, of course, if you're going to have a heavy use day, I recommend charging it to 100% so you have that extra margin. As for the Ultra version, we have 6,500 milliamp hours, a bit more capacity, plus the possibility of charging it with a 50-watt wireless charger. And we still need to talk about the design of this device, this Poco F8 Pro, a design that tells us little, which is built from a single milled piece of glass. In 3 stages and 41 steps, Poco introduces this unique design for the first time. And hey, we have a very minimalist phone with volume and power buttons on the right side and the rest of the chassis completely clean. On the top we have a speaker, on the bottom USB-C and 2 SIM cards. We have a matte finish, slightly rounded edges, and a weight of 199 grams. It also has IP68 water and dust protection inside. We have a new operating system, Pero S3, which comes pre-installed from the factory, equivalent to Android 16. And we have several improvements in this area, mainly focused on artificial intelligence with the help of Gemini. Then we have improvements in Wi-Fi 6 and also in Bluetooth to increase the range by 31%. And in mobile network by 42%. This way, we can extend coverage up to a kilometer in areas where there is no network. Of course, we have ES, and now I just have to talk about the price. The launch price of this device. For its version with 12 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of storage, it would be 519 euros, going up to 549 for the version with 12 and 512 gigs of storage. Of course, I forgot to tell you, that RAM can be expanded by using the internal storage, so we could get a little more RAM, and if we want, have more multitasking available. In this Poco F8 Pro, you can get a slight discount on the price, 15% if you're a student, 15% for business, and 10% if you buy it during the pre-sale. Plus, well, you also earn double points and other benefits from the Poco website. A phone I believe will keep selling well, as it has in past years. The F-Series. These are phones that turn out to be really good, offering us great features at a balanced price. And with that said, guys, all that's left for me to say is that if you have any questions, you can leave them down below in the comments. We'll leave the purchase link with some discounts that will be available in the description, as well as more information about the phone itself. If you like the video, leave a like and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.